Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who are new, hello, my name is Arundati Kanawala and I'm a final year medical student at Srimati Kashibai Navli Medical College, Pune. In today's video, I will be giving you a very integrated study plan for all you IMGs, and along the way I'll be talking about the resources and the study tips that I incorporated in this journey of mine. So let's begin. Now, all the IMGs preparing for this particular exam have their own journey and their own timeline. So let's be very unapologetic about how much time you will be taking to be ready for this particular exam. Myself, I took around 12 months of preparation time, but I also realized that this time included a lot of time that could have been avoided. Still trying to experiment new resources which would work in my best interest and which could make me feel more confident about my knowledge. So I hope that through this video I can help you reduce that extra time and you can have a proper dedicated period, which I would suggest a 6 to 8 months period should be good enough for you to understand and approximate how much time you would take. And with the USMLE Step 1 becoming pass and fail from January 2022, you don't need to invest that much amount of study time. Now the best time to take it is something that a lot of people are doubtful about. Like I said earlier, I took 12 months, but I would really tell you, these 12 months were in my third year, okay? But if you're somebody who's really thinking of which time of their curriculum they should take it up, I will definitely suggest you take it in your third year, because in the first few months, actually even the third year topics, they're very, they're clinical, but at the same time, they're very less in number, and the understanding of these topics is really quick. So even if you start studying a little later for these topics like I did, it's very easy to clear your university exams. So for the first 6 months you can actually dedicate your time. So a very significant advice of mine: please do not preoccupy yourself from the very beginning that now I'll start studying a little in my this year actively, and then later continue in the middle and then go ahead and complete my thing. And don't give yourself a lot of gaps. Decide when you want to start and roughly have an end date to when you want to take up the exam. So at this particular dedicated period, I feel that whenever you start, keep a period where you're 100% focused, you prioritize yourself, and if you do that well, this particular time, you'll putting yourself through this particular grueling process. And I know it will get a lot at this time, but give yourself these 6 months so that later in life you can have an enjoyable time with all the efforts that you put in and the results you will get at the end of it. So now talking about USMLE Step 1, it includes all your basic science topics of first year and second year in medical college. So first year subjects of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and second year pathology, pharmacology, microbiology. You do not have forensic medicine, but instead you have psychiatry and biostatistics added to it. Now, I would really suggest that you start with your basic topics like immunology, biochemistry, and then eventually go to systemic topics like CVS, CNS, RESP, or all the other systems, right? Because from my experience, I felt that if I would have started with these basic topics, there's a lot of integration of the diseases that are taught under these topics in the other systemic topics. So haphazardly studying should not be your goal. Give a very systematic approach. Start from the basics even if you feel that it's tedious, because trust me, it's really helpful. Okay, and for the people who are in first year who are watching this, please study diligently. If you're somebody who's looking up to take this exam, do justice to your reading, and it does not necessarily have to be step one material. If you're studying from Marrow, Prep Ladder, or even your textbooks, just know that whatever you're studying is not merely for a college exam that you're going to give. There is going to be much more importance of that knowledge ahead when you want to appear for this exam, and you'll be reading from these other important resources. The reading will be way easier and way smoother. So do not take these 2.5 years lightly of your life. And even the second year people watching this, your second year subjects are really, really, really important. Do not waste your time just thinking that it's second year and you'll start when third year begins. Whatever you're reading for college exams, just make sure you're doing it well, because that confidence of knowing your material really helps you when you're starting, and it really shortens the process of completion of this journey of yours. Make sure you're giving good amount of time to your step one preparation. Prioritize this time for yourself and get it clear in your mind that if not now, it's going to be very late at the end to do it. And a lot of people also feel like, for those who have not made up their mind or who thought of it a bit later, they do take it up in internship as well. So if you take it up in internship, you do have a clinical edge over the time when you're giving it in third year, but it's up to you. I will talk about my experience. Thank God I gave it in my third year, because now I know that when I have to approach my step 2 CK, I have to study for that exam in a particular clinically oriented way. And now that I'm in final year of MBBS, even the approach with which I read the topics in my book, and to be very honest, the topics in first aid, I've actually opened that book quite a few times just to see the familiarity in the topics that were in that book versus what I'm actually studying. There is a lot of similarities. So the topics are not really new for me, in final year. They're just more in depth. Like step 1 does not include a lot of management aspect of a particular disease or a syndrome, right? So that is something new. And that is you're always going to learn as a medical student at every phase of your life. But you will definitely have an idea how to study once you do a lot of self-study yourself in the first 6 months of third year. I will highly, highly suggest you do it at that time. But even if you're an intern or doing it afterwards, a good dedicated period of 6 months should definitely be good enough. 6 to 8 months should be good enough for you to crack this exam. Now, the actual thing that I want to talk about is the resources and how you should be integrating the way you study to make it the best for yourself, right? Now, there are 2 ways. One is called active learning and one is called passive learning. Now, it is very essential for you to incorporate both these methods to study properly for this particular exam. Now, passive learning, what is it? So it includes the materials which you read, the materials which you watch, so that you gain particular kind of knowledge from it. Maybe you're reading it for the first time, or it's a revision of what you've read earlier. The first resource that everyone should have when they are starting their preparation is the latest edition of First Aid. I have myself experienced a lot of questions in my step come from a lot of these hidden lines in First Aid. So make sure you're thorough with this particular book. Now also know that First Aid is a note-taking book. It has notes written. It's not a proper theory book. Now to build up your knowledge on whatever is mentioned in the book, you need some more substantial resource. So what I used is the second one. It would be Boards and Beyond. Now for the people who want everything under one roof, you should definitely just stick to this one particular resource. So if you have a topic of cardiology, for example, you will have embryology, you'll have anatomy, you'll have physiology, you will have pathology, and you will have pharmac, everything under this one particular heading of a topic. So I think it was I myself had around 2.5 rounds of watching these videos thoroughly, and it really helped when I integrated them, with reading first aid and using the other resources that I will continue talking about. Now, the third resource is something that I will definitely suggest you to do is Sketchy Micro and Sketchy Farm. Now, my father once told me that picture memory is actually a very rare quality for a lot of people, but I will honestly tell you that the experience of this particular way of learning through Sketchy, where it gives you a pictographic representation of all the important, for example, microorganism like staph and the mechanism of action of how it infects your body cells and the way it develops its manifestations, its treatment. Everything has a particular a picture made, so when you keep revising it again over with flashcards, it just fits in your head so well that till date I still feel very confident about what I had to experience from this particular resource. The fourth one, an equally commendable resource by Dr. Hussain Sattar, is Pathoma. General pathology wouldn't be stabilized in my study pattern if it wasn't for his teachings. I think it was my weakest point, pathology, and working with somebody who actually takes such deep efforts to explain to you the integrities of such deeply invested concepts, it really helped me a lot, and you should definitely use Pathoma. You can always even get the printout of Pathoma notes and watch their videos and study by it. This becomes a part of your passive learning. Now, about active learning, and I think this should be something that you put a lot of effort into. So in active learning, the first thing that everyone should definitely take up is UWorld. It is the resource for studying for USMLE. The way the questions would come in your exam is exactly the way UWorld puts it up in their clinical scenarios. There are a lot of even questions whose answers are not even given in first aid, so it becomes very important to make notes of these particular questions either digitally. I think now UWorld has started a notes section where you can copy paste the IMPs from the explanations and put it and make a nice algorithm for yourself so you can study well from it. Or if you're a person who likes to manually write notes, that's absolutely fine as well. So make sure you take a subscription. I took of 6 months initially, then I took of 3 months, then I took of 1 month. So that's what I'm saying. Please, and I hadn't decided my last date, so this extension, and obviously it's a lot of investment, right? So I did have to keep extending my subscriptions, but make sure you stick to the time period and know when you want to start and know when you want to finish. Second thing, which literally acted like a feather in my cap, was Anki flashcards. The amount of confidence this particular resource embodied in me is to another level. The repetition and coming across the same things was something that I had not practiced ever in my life before, and this particular exam really gave me a very good exposure to how systematically you can build up your knowledge and stabilize what you have read. And for the Anki flashcards, that you can definitely make your own flashcards as well. And if you need pre-made decks, you can obviously have them taken from the Reddit Med School Anki website. It's given on the right hand side, all the links of the decks that you want. The ones that I suggest would be Cheesy Lightyear. Then you can take Anking, which is a more broader deck. And if you want to learn how to use Anki Web, you can go to Anking's YouTube channel, and he has a very nice flow and teaches you how you can incorporate this particular learning system in your journey. The last resource of active learning is your NBME exams. Make sure you're taking the most recent NBMEs that they have been put up. It is a very good estimation of how well prepared you are for a particular, for how much ever you've read. They usually say take your first NBME once you have finished around like 65% of your reading, and feel confident enough, because again, you have to pay for it, right? Why would you like to waste your money on a mock exam for which you haven't been prepared that well? So make sure after you've done all of this, you can do your NBMs. And another resource that you should try if you want to make your knowledge on first aid more strong, you can definitely do AMBERS. They also have like this one big mock exam in mid-Feb, which the subscribers of AMBERS can use. Okay, so how will you go about studying for this, right? When you also have college to attend. For example, if you're doing microbiology and you're starting today, you can decide on like a couple of you're starting bacteria. So you start with around watching 4 or 5 videos of a particular bacteria. You watch videos of it from Sketchy Micro, then you read about it from First Aid, and once you've read it, use the LOL Not a Cop deck of Anki for Sketchy and do the flashcards. So what it comes, it's like a statement, and there's the fill in the blank. You have to think about the answer in your mind, and then when you press enter, the answer comes. It matches, and then it also gives you a depiction of how in the sketchy video that particular object symbolized the blank that you're answering. And the next day, with your UL subscription which you've taken, you can solve easily like around 1 or 2 blocks and check how this particular experience of yours benefited you. And trust me, it is way better than just reading your first aid and just going and trying to understand what the question is trying to say. Practice time-based questions from UL. It is very helpful than just solving a question and seeing the explanation. It will help you because at the end every block is time-based. You have 40 questions and 60 minutes, so you should roughly be giving around 75 to 90 seconds per question. Certain tips that can help you get through this process very smoothly. So firstly, keep your cool. Be positive, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride, but you will make it through at the end. And once you've started, do not look back. Surround yourself with people who are equally motivated and equally driven. This will make your journey more bearable. You won't feel you're the only one doing it by yourself. The support system really acted like a very big comforting point to me. So I really hope that whoever it is, do things that you like doing as well. Do not be sedentary. Enjoy your hobbies as well. Also just prioritize this thing for one time, because you're going to make a beautiful life and you don't want to slack just yet. Work hard now so you can enjoy later in life. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up and do share in a comment how helpful you found this video. Do share it with somebody who is going to be taking up this exam in the near future, or you can motivate somebody. Do so, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.